Salutations, and welcome to the next installment of the Halo MCC Mod Showcase series, a collection of videos where I bring attention to modding projects that have piqued my interest. For this episode, we'll be going back to campaign mods that mostly use custom level geometry, and since the last time I looked at single player levels, quite a few have been released and are absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to show them to you. Please keep in mind that since I'm showcasing campaign levels, they have their own plot lines, and this video will contain spoilers. I'd actually recommend you play these levels yourself before watching this video, since there are special moments in a few of these that caught me off guard. With all that said, let's begin. Starting with a familiar face, we have mod maker Scorley with two of his most recent missions, Frozen Frontier and Kill Billus. Like with the other missions he's made, these are levels that feature a wide variety of well-crafted enemy encounters and set pieces, and are self-contained stories that have the Master Chief take on certain objectives. His levels also feature a modified version of Halo 3's sandbox, with changes including a more accurate assault rifle, a mauler that shoots slower, harder hitting projectiles, and brutes that berserk just like their Halo 2 counterparts, just to name a few examples. Let's start with Frozen Frontier. The Covenant shot down the Master Chief's Pelican, and it's up to him to clear out all of the enemies in this barren, icy wasteland. The encounters are awesome, especially the tank run. My personal highlight was the Scarab fight. Its entrance being obscured by the map's fog made it look really imposing. It had a nice build up to the fight itself, where you need a boost from plateau to plateau, fighting off Covenant forces along the way. You're then presented with a hard battle with a fuel rod chieftain commanding the Scarab crew. The entire battle felt like standard Halo 3's highest moments, with the perfect music choice. I do wish that the topology of the environment was a bit more polished, especially the rocks, but overall, this map was a delight to play. The other level, Kill Billus, features a simple objective: kill the brute chieftain in charge of the Covenant forces, aptly named Billus. This is probably Scorley's most polished looking map in the visual department, with much better topology than his other levels. There are two highlight moments for me, one with a large UNSC push versus the Covenant, and then the final arena where you fight Billus himself. He tests you by sicking his guards on you, and once you best them, he'll fight you himself. And this boss fight was really fun, with a well constructed arena that perfectly complements the skirmish. I do think some of the encounters with brute stalkers are a bit cheesy, especially when they go berserk on you and it's tough to hit them. I think Frozen Frontier was a stronger level, but I still highly recommend you give Kill Billus a shot. It's still a fun experience either way. Our next project is Halo 3 New Covenant by Caboose 1066. This takes place in an alternate timeline where the events after Halo 3 play out much differently than they do in the official canon, featuring a larger emphasis on past characters such as the Arbiter, the Shipmaster, Lord Hood, and more, while introducing the New Covenant, a splinter group of the original Covenant led by a brute warlord. This mod features custom cinematics played from Bink videos, but unfortunately, MCC heavily compresses Binks, so it's best to watch the cutscenes from the New Covenant YouTube channel. New Covenant currently consists of 3 missions: Hijacked, MIA, and Research Station. The first mission, Hijacked, has you play as the Arbiter as the New Covenant are raiding the Shadow of Intent. The piracy caused the ship's control room to lose power, so the Arbiter fights his way through the ship, taking on New Covenant in his way to reactivate the power. The Arbiter then makes his way back to Urtos and the other elites, only to see the Warlord execute them right in front of him. They cockily leave the Arbiter as the only survivor, solely to tell the humans that the New Covenant want to fight. It's then revealed that the New Covenant installed an upgraded energy shield onto the ship, seemingly ready to take on anyone. I'd say Hijacked is the weakest of the 3 levels so far, but it's understandable considering it was the first mission they made. The level reuses map geometry from the Halo 2 level Gravemind, with the visuals looking unpolished here and there, and since this is a Covenant-centric level, you're stuck with only using Covenant weapons, which skews the game balance for certain encounters in a negative way. That being said, the game does get more bearable once you find carbine ammo, and the plasma rifle can put in work at times. The second level, MIA, takes us to Master Chief's perspective directly after the events of Halo 3, with the Forward Unto Dawn crash landing in a desert on an unknown planet. You find some supplies, steal a vehicle from a Covenant search party, and make your way to various Covenant outposts, looking to combine fragments of code Cortana finds at each one. Once you get to the last outpost, it's revealed that the code depicts jump points for a Covenant supercarrier, and a set of coordinates that lead to a Forerunner installation. The waypoint takes the player to an interior cave system, which looks really good in Halo 3's lighting. This is where we're met with enemy sentinels that take on you and the Covenant forces, creating a three-way skirmish. There's even some video gamey platforming bits the player must go through, which were pretty cute. The Master Chief eventually meets up with Monitor 02-274, who informs him and Cortana that the new Covenant stole the same shield technology that now powers the Shadow of Intent. The shield can't be destroyed by conventional means, only by a bypass module housed in a research station. MIA is a huge improvement over Hijacked, using mostly original level geometry and including the human side of the sandbox. There is a segment of the orbital multiplayer map that's creatively used at one of the crash sites, and it was very well done. I will say that the pacing is a bit slow during the first half, as it takes a while to get from one outpost to the next, with not a lot going on between them. But once it gets to the interior Forerunner section, it ramps up and there's a lot more action. Despite this, driving around the desert is still pretty cool and it's visually stunning. The last available map, Research Station, has the Arbiter and a squad of Marines ascertain the location of the bypass module. Previously, the monitor states that the research station went offline a long time ago, and you soon find out why. The Flood have overrun this facility. Not only that, the Gravemind is here and communicates through your mind like in base Halo 3. This is the first mission in this mod to incorporate brand new sandbox elements. The first is a new Forerunner weapon, simply called the Ancient Weapon. It's a semi-automatic pistol with unlimited ammo, but it doesn't expel any heat with each shot, and when it overheats, it stuns your shields. There's a new Flood combat form that fires the same sharp projectiles that the ranged Pure form shoots. There's a version of the Flood carrier form that expels green flames when it explodes, leaving a wide area of denial. The Flood have taken control over the Sentinels stationed here, as seen with their red lights. There are also larger Sentinel variants with more powerful weaponry. The Arbiter fights his way through the Flood-infested research station, dropping off the bypass module to the UNSC on the way, until he reaches the Gravemind himself. The boss battle begins, forcing the player to shoot at the tentacles to force the Gravemind out. Once that's done, you unload all of your ammo onto the Gravemind, seemingly killing him. I had a lot of fun playing this one. Very creepy aesthetics, really good voice acting all around, and the boss was quite fun. However, I do have a couple of issues. I don't think the Ancient Weapon should have unlimited ammo, but rather just have a strong battery that can support a lot of shots. There's a lot of Ancient Weapons installed onto weapon racks anyway, so it's not like there would be a shortage of ammo. The heat should also slowly vent out of the weapon rather than using a zero value, because I felt the optimal strategy after a firefight was to continue shooting my weapon until it overheated so I can go to the next encounter with no generated heat. Some of the Sentinels were also kind of insane to fight, and I needed to cheese some encounters because of it. The Sentinel beams they use are incredibly strong and impossible to dodge without cover, forcing you to peek and shoot, which I find to be bad for Halo's gameplay. Overall, please give New Covenant the attention it deserves. The production value is honestly insane, although I do hope Hijacked gets a polish pass to keep it in line with the other two levels. Altus94 recently put out a new campaign level for Halo 1, dubbed Mercury Rising. It uses the level geometry of the custom edition multiplayer map Mercury Falling by Skillet, TG Cheeky, and Wolf. This is an open-ended campaign level where you can tackle the map's objectives in any way you want, whether it's going in guns blazing or taking longer, safer routes. The map contains its own sandbox, featuring dig site content as well as weapons and enemies from the custom edition days, and it even has some cameos from our very own Halo CE+, which is nice to see. My favorite sandbox element here is the Artie bug, a Covenant quadruped powered by hunter worms. They have tough exteriors, but have the same weak spots the hunters do, so shooting there is vital. There are also bubble shield and regen field grenades that the players and enemies can exploit. The Master Chief goes to investigate a distress signal found in this icy canyon. He fights past Covenant and Sentinel forces until he finds a group of imprisoned Marines. He frees them, and they inform the Chief they were trying to activate some Foreigner defenses to help the war effort against the Covenant. They lead the Chief to the location of these supposed defenses, and flipping the switch seems to have activated them. However, an engineer appears, and it turns out the Marines are working for the Covenant, and they turn against you. It's unknown as to what the switch really powered on, but it's imperative that the Chief disables the power cores that run whatever is being powered. The Chief has to fight Covenant and enemy humans as he makes his way to each core. Once all three are destroyed, the Chief makes his getaway, and the mission ends. Mercury Rising is a neat mission, especially considering the fact this was made in only 5 weeks, according to Altus. There's a good deal of nostalgia seeing some of these older custom edition tags being put to good use, such as the revolver from Chronopolis, and it's great to see the community utilizing the dig site assets as well as the Halo CE Plus tags. That being said, I do have some concerns. My biggest issue revolves around the Slugmen, which serve as a replacement for the Jackals. They are sniper units, but you can't headshot them, not even with your own sniper rifles, and it's tough to stagger them. They have a weak spot near their belly, but it's hard to access it with their arms in the way. This results in the Slugmen being a very inconsistent fight. Going up against human enemies is not a fun experience when they shoot weapons with very fast projectiles. At least the humans are easy to kill, but they can be pretty overwhelming in large numbers, or if they're widely spaced out in a given area. This isn't a fault of Altus's, but there's a reason why the Drinal is a cut enemy. In its current state, it's an awkward fight. It can either easily overpower you thanks to its faster movement speed, or just get stuck somewhere and you'll shoot it until it dies. Despite my gripes, Mercury Rising is still fun and worth your attention. The last project I want to cover for today's installment is the Silent Cartographer Evolved by the TSCE team. The people behind the newest MCC release are some of the devs behind the initial custom edition release back in 2015, before it was incorporated into SPV3. The newest version now features proper co-op support and a bunch of visual enhancements only possible with the current toolset. For those unaware of this project, the Silent Cartographer Evolved is a from-the-ground-up reimagining of the 4th mission of the first Halo game, featuring brand new level geometry that pushes the limits of what Halo 1 is capable of. It also features its own sandbox, with a wide variety of custom weapons, vehicles, and renditions of the Covenant forces. Some of my favorite weapons are actually from the Covenant arsenal. The plasma rifle retains a lot of what makes the CE version amazing, while feeling a bit stronger. The Spiker absolutely shreds through enemy health, but is poor against shields. And speaking of shredding, the Shredder is my favorite weapon here. It's a brute shotgun rendition of the Needler that retains the Super Combine ability, and even if you don't achieve a Super Combine, the needles can cause enemies to stagger when they detonate. The visuals on this map are some of the best that Halo 1 can possibly offer. To this day, TSCE is still my favorite looking CE mod, right up there with Portent. My personal favorite aspect is the fact the map room is housed underwater, much like some of the temples seen in Halo 2's Regret mission. Lastly, the Silent Cartographer Evolved somehow made the easy mode worth playing, so please give that a shot. If there's anything I can criticize about this mod, it's the camera effects for getting hit. They're a tad too strong, which proved to be overwhelming when being attacked by a large group of enemies. The Silent Cartographer Evolved also has a sister mod, the Truth and Reconciliation Revisited. It's the same May 50 as before, but the audio and graphic fidelities are all brand new, using assets from TSCE. And that's going to do it for this installment of Halo Mod Showcase. I encourage you to check out and support each of the projects I've given attention to. They're all amazing. If, and only if, you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, hit the like button and leave a comment stating your favorite mod out of this bunch, as well as what mods you'd like to see me cover in the future. Subscribe for more Halo content from this channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an upload. I'd like to thank my counselor tier patrons, Noobs, Coach Chungus, Shmee Grimm, Savin' Private Mike, Blake Vollant, Punk Anderson, Alec Hash, Michael Johnson, Tom Bax, Basic Toast, Ghost, Scatman, UNSC Shooter, C3 Sabretooth, Just Larm, Turbo Simp, Synonymous Hooligan, Sean T, Conler Daytona, Rad Mayan, Kyle Dealman, Ghost Slayer, and Tomislav. This is the Vengeful Vatum. Always remember that you matter more than you think you do, and I'll see you on the great journey.